Xin chào, what's up? So this is gonna be a new series. You know, I get a lot of questions about a lot of stuff, and I feel like I want to shoot this series now because I learned a lot when I, decided to move to another country and pretty much leave America forever. Wherever that would have had me end up in the long run, I'm gonna explain to you how I did it. I'm gonna tell you the mistakes I made and how you can learn from them. So, first things first. So, you're either in a position now where you're sick of America, or you just want to world travel, or you want to go somewhere and live there for a long while. I'm talking like years. So like 3 years plus, maybe 3 to plus forever years. You want to live in another country. Now, it doesn't matter what country it is. I'm going to explain to you how I did it, and I went about it in a pretty good way. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set a target date. So like say you've decided you want to do this. Sorry about the speaker, the guy's talking about COVID. They're making everybody, say wear masks and shit. But the first thing you're going to want to do is plan a date. So like, you make a date and you make that the hard date no matter what, and it never changes. That date never changes. So you'll set that date and you'll make that date and it'll never change. So like say you set a deadline for a year, like 1 year you'll go with. I'm trying to get away from the speakers. So annoying. So I set mine for a year. I did exactly 1 year. I go, I'm moving to Vietnam in 1 year. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is start to sell all your shit in the beginning. Everything. If you're gonna go live somewhere permanently, you don't need any of your shit at home. You don't need to get a storage unit that someone's got to take care of or waste monthly money on a storage unit. I literally sold everything I had. Everything. I'm talking everything. I have 2 small plastic crates that are like, I don't know, very small, with just paperwork and computers. And that's it. Everything else I got rid of. Like literally you just want to get rid of it all. You don't need it. If you can't take it with you, you don't need it. That's really the way you got to look at this. So you set that date, you start to sell all your shit. Then you stop buying shit. You stop going out. You stop consuming things. You start to save your money. You're going to need, say if you're moving to Vietnam, you're going to need at least $5 grand. If you're going to like Tokyo or Japan or Korea, we're going to just focus on these 3, on Southeast Asia. You're going to need like 10 grand if you want to be feeling comfortable while you get set up in the new country, get a new job, all of that stuff. So you're going to need a nest egg. So you're going to need to sell your car. You're going to need to sell all your shit, your video games, all the stuff you don't use. Which is, for most people, a lot of shit. Like, as I went through all my stuff and sold it, I used maybe like 10% of it. And I was able to put all my life into one larger suitcase and bring it here with me. Mistakes I did make is, I only bought 2 laptops. I have an old MacBook and I have an old Mac Air. I bought that. But I had a good IBM too, or Lenovo. I should have bought the Lenovo. And then I bought my desktop computer. If you're going to be a digital nomad, you need to have all the equipment. You don't want to try to buy that shit over here. It's more expensive. It's just better to have as much equipment as you can get beforehand. If you're going to do YouTube, get you the camera you want, get you the equipment you want. If you're going to want a drone, get you a drone. Get all that shit ahead of time so you don't have to use that as like your money that you're going to have for while you're at that country. So you're going to want to sell everything. You're going to want to pay off debt in that year if you have debt that you're worried about. And then you're going to have to set that hard date, and you're going to have to stick to that hard date. That hard date has to be stuck to because it'll give you the strive to get through it. Like, granted, I was in a time crunch the last 90 days. I was just crazily going through shit. The best thing you need to do is give yourself a year to sell all your shit, because selling shit isn't as easy as it was like 5 years ago when you could just go on Craigslist, you could list your shit $10 cheaper than anyone else, and you could sell it like pretty much right away. It took me so long to sell stuff, and I sold a lot of stuff at like 50% off the value of like others were, just to start to get rid of it towards like the end. So I mean, yeah. You've got to get on all these things. You've got to figure out the visa situation in that country. You know, it's still pretty good in Vietnam, except for you have to redo the stamp every 30 days, which is so ridiculous. I mean, Vietnam has changed all their visa shit around now since July 1st, which I don't think was the best idea. They had a lot of Westerners coming in here, bringing money, spending their money, making lives here. And now they made it a lot more difficult to stay here long term. Like the investment visa is only for a year now. You have to show that you have $3 billion in money, which is like, I don't know, 150,000, 200,000, which is crazy. For a work permit now, you have to have a degree of some sort, a 2-year degree. I mean, they made it very tricky to stay here for the long term. So you need to figure out your visa situation ahead of time. If you're gonna work full time and you're not gonna do digital nomad, you're gonna wanna apply for many jobs and get the job ahead of time. Then that place will take care of your work permit, all of that stuff. So if you're gonna work, be a teacher, for example, get your TEFL certificate. You know, if you started college and you didn't finish your 2-year out at least. You've got to, the more stuff you have, it's the easier to stay in a country. So if you're gonna move to like Japan, for example, they give you like a longer term visa if you're in school for 20 hours a week. So if you like plan to move to Japan and you want to learn Japanese, there you go. You sign up for a college there, take Japanese courses for 20 hours a week, and you've got a visa there. I don't know how long that runs. I think it's as long as you're in school. And then you can, you know, plan to get permanent residency there. Vietnam doesn't have that kind of situation here, which sucks. They've really made it hard here, unless you kind of get married, to stay here long term. So these are all things you've got to look at. And understand that I chose Vietnam because I liked it here. I've been here before multiple times. I loved it. The people are nice. Like just out today walking, everybody said hello to me, which I haven't had happen in quite a while, but every Viet I passed, guy or girl, was like, hey, how are you? Or just like a head nod. So that's some of the things that are really great about Vietnam. For the most part, you have like this really positive experience here. And things are cheap, you know? You can get an apartment now because of COVID, and even after COVID, you'll be able to get an apartment like for $500 that's pretty nice in D1. And of course, it can be much cheaper in other areas. I mean, you can get apartments for, you know, as cheap as $300 in some other areas. So you've just got to be, you know, cognitive of what you're going to spend, how much money you think you're going to need, stick to your 1-year deadline, figure out what you're going to do if you're going to get a job, figure out the visa situation so you're not worrying about visa shit. So like I said, you can still get a 1-year business or travel here, but you have to redo your stamp every 30 days, which sucks. Xin chào. Say hello to YouTube. Hello. So yeah. If you're gonna be a digital nomad though, you're gonna need to have like 5 to 10 grand. You're gonna wanna sell all your shit. My biggest thing is to sell all your shit. Wrong. My biggest thing is, do you wanna get some food? Where at? You can go this, I heard of this like one restaurant called Tory Show. You ever heard of the Tory Show?
So I shouldn't break the helmet.
Alright, it's fine. I was going to tell you to leave it and then we can just put your other one on. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is, you know, is set that deadline. The deadline makes you motivated and work for it. It's very difficult to explain, but by setting that hard deadline and then get your visa ahead of time. The best thing I did here is I got my visa, you know, all in line. I set the dates. You know, it still works the same way. You just go on the Vietnam Embassy website. This is for Americans only. You go on the Vietnam website, you PayPal them $200, and you get a 1-year visa. But then you have to make plans if you're going to stay long term. You know, you got to get a job, you got to get someone to do the paperwork for you. It's got to be a full-time job. You've got to get, there's no more like falsifying the shit. Like, you can't do like the bullshit investor visa anymore after July 1st. They made it much more difficult to stay here long term. So you've got to plan for that if coming to Vietnam. I know nothing about Korea's visa policy, so you'll have to look into all that. And same with Japan. I only know about the 20 hours a week college exemption thing that allows you to stay pretty much long term. So that's just part one. We're gonna go over a lot of stuff. Like, things I regret is I didn't bring enough shit with me. I should have bought my other computer with me. I should have bought other clothes, like especially if you're a big guy. And I should have bought like 3 more pairs of shoes. So if you have like a favorite pair of shoes and you have big feet like I do, 13, I should have bought like 4 pairs. I should have bought enough for a long time. But I figured, you know, I would be able to get shoes here. I never would have thought that like my size doesn't exist anywhere in Vietnam, except for like cheap Yeezy knockoffs that are just garbage. So these are the things I'm gonna try to guide you as best I can. And since this is gonna be a multiple part series, in the comments, ask questions, guys. The more questions you ask, the more I can explain to you, and the more I can add on the next part of this series that we're gonna do. I think it's gonna be a 3 or 4 part series. So I'm not gonna talk anything about Corona, because this is gonna be a long-term series that probably people watch for years to come. So we're just gonna cover how I was able to come here and be successful. And a lot of my success is attributed to my YouTube now. So I thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. And I hope this helps someone that's deciding to make the move. So this is really more like, so this is more like, if you're thinking about moving and you've been to these countries, I would never blindly move to a country. Like, you've got to visit it first. So like, that would actually be the first step. And then, like, what I would almost recommend, like after the pandemic's over, is go to 3 of the countries at one time if they're in Southeast Asia that you're thinking about moving to. So, and then you can make an educated guess or decision on that. If you have a good college degree and you want to teach, I think you can stay at any 3 countries and they'll cover all your stuff. So you're ahead of the curve on that. Boom, boom, boom. All right, guys. Win says thank you for watching.
Thank you everyone for watching. This one's so hard.
I'm gonna put mine on next. I only have this one on.
I cannot even speak.
So we're all COVID masked up. So, all right, guys. So this is the first of the series. Like I said, drop comments in the comments, so then we can address more things in the next part. I'll probably release one of these once a week. So, all right. I hope this was helpful. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff. That's why it's a multiple part series, and you guys can comment. So we'll see you on the next video. Thanks again for watching. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. If you want to hit the like, hit the like. You don't have to do any. You can hit the dislike button if you like. Whatever makes you happy. All right, guys. Peace. Dami.